Sticking with us through the tech issues. They have been resolved, and we can finally go to the amazing, the wonderful, the extraordinary CriticalCyd running Sonic Heroes Super Hard Mode.
Setting them up for disappointment, man. Why are you setting them up for disappointment? I can't live up to that. Anyway, hi everybody, I'm CriticalCyd. Just real quick before we start the run, I am gonna go ahead and explain what Super Hard Mode is. Super Hard Mode is a bonus mode in the game that is unlocked by 100%ing it, getting all the A ranks. And it's essentially extra difficult versions of every stage. They didn't try to make difficult versions of the bosses, so there's fortunately no bosses, which is one of the best things about the category, because bosses in this game are boring. But yeah, that's pretty much what we're getting here today. And the reason I explain that now is because this run has a very explosive start and then doesn't really slow down. So I would not be able to get to that for quite a while. But yeah, I'm ready, so countdown. 3, 2, 1, go! Alright, let's go with Sonic Heroes to kick off BSG. Right, so this is a very kind of unique and interesting Sonic game in the sense that it has the team mechanics, and which goes a bit further than just being able to switch through the 3 formations at will. The characters actually interact with each other for a lot of their moves. So stuff like pushing each other forward for extra speed, using each other to attack enemies. Yep, that is a thing. I can literally throw my teammates at enemies. And all that good stuff. Now, every formation has quite a lot of moves, so let's start with the one that's going to come up first as the most important one, which is the flight formation. And the flight formation has a couple of moves to its availability. It is represented by Tails, of course, and he can thunder shoot in order to stun enemies, or knock them out of the ground in the process as well. And he does that by shooting his teammates at people, or at robots in this case. Other than that, of course, he has the flying ability. And what's interesting about this one is, in particular, is how the characters interact with each other during a flight. Whenever you start a flight, you get what's called a callback. It's one of the moves that forces your teammates towards you. And in this case, Sonic tries to grab onto Tails whenever you start a flight, and Knuckles tries to grab onto Sonic, which is very important for a trick that I am about to do right here by using this robot. So this is quite a difficult trick. I'll try and focus on it.
Let's go! Let's go!
And there we go! Just gotta land, but I got quite good distance, so I should be able to land on the path right here. Ah, yeah.
Got it. Got it.
So, that is what's called a bop boost, and what I essentially did is I tricked the game into thinking the flight formation is complete, so that the characters grabbing onto each other mechanics are still functioning the way they're supposed to. And then I put a wall in between me and the stunned speed character on the ground, because he was not actually part of the formation. There's a whole bunch of funky stuff. I'll be going into that some more later on into the run. But first, we are getting to other mechanics. We have Knuckles. Knuckles has a glide. The glide carries a lot of momentum. We have speed shoes. Speed shoes don't work all that well on the ground, but they work really well in the air, for some reason, allowing me to do that wonderful glide. Oh yeah. I am really happy I got both of those tricks. I could have gotten a little bit of a better bop boost, but considering I routinely reset on this stage to get those 2 tricks, and can get stuck in Seaside Hill quite often, I'm very happy that I even got them, because that is one incredibly rough start to a run. But yeah, that was a good Seaside Hill. I'm a happy boy. So yeah, now in Ocean Palace, let's talk a little bit about Sonic. Like I said, there's a lot of mechanics, so I'm gonna get to them as soon as I'm able to, and as soon as it makes sense. Because if I have to explain everything before it happens, not gonna work. So yeah, Sonic. Sonic has a little move called the Rocket Excel, where he gets his teammates behind him, and then they push him forward at very high speeds. That is my main source of speeds throughout the game, for the most part. And I can do that to beat those rocks, and make sure they don't fall on top of me. Now, whenever you try to do a Rocket Excel and your teammates aren't actually nearby to push you, you instead get this kick. The kick still gives a little bit of speed, but for the most part, like, it's not even close to Rocket Excel. Fortunately, though, it is very useful to even be able to just get a little bit of speed. It means I could just mash the B button for the most part, unless I specifically want to Rocket Excel. And what I can do with it as well is if I do the kick right as I go off a ledge, the game will think I am still on the ground for the entire animation of the kick, meaning I could jump out of it like that. Very useful for bridging gaps. So those are the two main features of speed formation, as well as, of course, homing attack for attacking enemies, but that's a pretty old story for 3D Sonic at this point. Now here we're gonna have another butt boost. Gotta get these robots into position first. Alright, very nice setup. And there we go. Bam. So let's talk a little bit more about how exactly that works. Like I explained in Seaside Hill, the characters are programmed that whenever you start a flight, that Sonic will grab onto Tails and Knuckles will grab onto Sonic. Unless Sonic is stunned, then Knuckles will grab onto Tails instead. Now, what I did is I hit the robot in such a way that Sonic actually gets hit by the robot on the exact frame that Knuckles touches the ground. What this does is it tricks the game into thinking the flight formation is complete, even though Sonic is stunned on the ground for 3 seconds. So with that, if I start a flight in that, Knuckles is still programmed to grab onto Sonic, which means he will go at very high speeds to wherever Sonic is lying on the ground. That is, unless you put a wall in between. If you put a wall in between, then you get all of that insane speed in the opposite direction of the wall. Why it does that with the wall? Your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea. But that is Bot Boost, and there's more details about how you can get the proper speed and all that good stuff, but that's gonna come up later. I can also interrupt the Bot Boost if I want by doing Tails' Thunder Shoot, which is very, very nice, because I'll be using that in the next stage. There's another Bot Boost later on. For the most part, though, I'm just gonna be using like a lot of the speed paths that are around and the Rocket Excel to build up speed. It's a lot of speed formation in this particular stage, and I also get to do more of his other move that I haven't been able to explain yet, which is the Light Dash, where I dash along a trail of rings, has a very high speed, and if I switch to Knuckles before it ends, I can carry that speed over to Knuckles. Very nice. And of course here, we're gonna make use of more of Knuckles' glide, which is very good at carrying momentum. And the Rocket Excel also has a nice thing called wind physics, which allows me to flip enemies. Now, wind physics are quite important in this stage, because there are a couple of things that have wind physics. One of them is the Rocket Excel. The other one is another move of Sonic that I haven't done yet, which is the Blue Tornado, which has a very long animation, so I try to avoid using it. But I can also get it on my homing attack, and that is done through the level up system. Now, every character starts at level 0, but I can get up to 3 levels for them, which each change some of their moves in unique ways. For level 1 and 2 for Sonic, what it does is it makes his homing attack do 1 more damage for a total of 3 total. There we go. Pop boost and interrupt. Get over here. And at level 3, Sonic's homing attack will have wind physics, which is very useful for flipping enemies, de-shielding enemies, latching onto poles, all that good stuff. Alright. Now the way you get levels in this game is by hitting checkpoints, which gives you a level for whichever formation you're in. There's also items spread throughout the stage, but there aren't as many in Super Hard Mode because it's Super Hard Mode. And then there's also enemies. Every 5 enemies I beat, I get a level up for one of the 2 formations that I'm not in whenever the enemy is destroyed. So since I destroyed that with Knuckles, I had a chance of getting either a Tails or a Sonic level up. In this case, I wanted Sonic. I got Sonic, which is very nice. In the meantime, though, we've already come up to our next trick, and this is quite a tricky one. So what I'm gonna do here is the Team Blast, which instantly destroys anything in the area. But that's not exactly what I'm using it for. I'm using it for the after effect, which is something called the Lightspeed Attack. There we go, got the trick first try, very nice. I only get a couple of tries at that, because for the entire cooldown of the Team Blast, I will have access to that Lightspeed Attack. And what I did there is I combined the Lightspeed Attack with what is called a Storage Kick. And a storage kick is where you prepare a rocket excel, but then right before Knuckles pushes you, you jump, making you get the kick while you're in the air. So if I time that right with the activation of the Lightspeed attack, I can combine the two and get that really high kick there, which is nice because I have to wait for a pole to come down, and then I have to swing up the pole, which takes forever.
Ready?
So does taking out the bridge, so instead we're just gonna go ahead and do a mid-air kick to get past it. And those rings are very scary. So what they decided to do is, rather than having the dash pad send you to the next path, is, you know, super hard mode. Let's put some rings in the air there and have the path send you into the rings. Problem is, if you hit the path too high, you will overshoot those rings and die. So I had to be very particular with where I hit the dash path. Otherwise, that could have ended in disaster. Now, this path I'm not actually supposed to take. It wants you to go left, do a whole bunch of fights in order to progress. But instead, I decided to take Team Dark's path, which is slightly faster because there's no fighting involved. Now, this was actually quite a good Grand Metropolis, which is very rare. This is one of the hardest stages in Super Hard Mode, and it's like, it feels hard. It feels weird to say that, because like whenever if I execute these stages like properly, I will actually make them look easy. But if it goes wrong, it can snowball out of control really fast because the stages are really unforgiving, just with how much extra obstacles and enemies that are there that can just hack you over. Power Plant is the other most difficult stage, I would say. Fortunately, they're quite early in the run, but still, they are difficult. And in this one, I'm going to be leveling up Tails, because the flight formation is going to be very useful here. It's a very vertical stage. So what I'm going to be doing is getting up to level 2 with Tails. Now, at level 1, what the Thunder Shoot ends up doing is it no longer stuns the character that is used to stun the enemy, and it bounces over to other enemies, which is quite nice to have. So hopefully these robots will give me a Tails level up. Yes, very nice. That is good luck. And then I can get the second one from under that robot, which means I can destroy these robots because at level 2, his Thunder Shoot will start doing 3 damage, which allows me to one-shot those enemies. It's just very nice to have. Other than that, what I'm going to be doing with Tails is whenever there's air boosters nearby, which is going to come up in an elevator in a little bit, I'm going to be doing a Thunder Shoot whenever I hit the air booster. And normally when you hit an air booster, you don't get your flight back. It's just all you can do is fall. That is all, nothing else. Nope, nothing for you. But if you do a Thunder Shoot whenever you hit air boosters, it will actually reset your flight so you can then start another one, which is quite useful for skipping the elevators. I do not have screen at the moment. There we go. I got screen back and it's gone again. I am not entering this elevator before the screen is back. Thank you, Tech. It is back. Much appreciated. All right, I failed the Thunder Shoot skip there, and the screen is acting up again. Yep. All right, it's back. Capture card issues are fantastic. Alrighty. So these elevators are fortunately skippable. In normal Team Sonic, I would have to sit the entire elevator out, but I don't really want to do that. But yeah. That is that. What we're gonna do next is a couple of ramp jumps to hopefully skip some sections. And after that, we are skip the second elevator, in which I actually really need to get those flight restores. Otherwise, I will not be able to make it all the way to the top, and I have to start to skip over. Alright, didn't get the ramp jump, so I'm just going to defeat the enemies here. And so yeah, that's what's going on for the next while. So if there's any donations or anything else you want to read, go ahead, Mr. Host.
Well, that's actually perfect, because we actually have a new donation incentive. For Super Mario Odyssey, we are going to be opening up a bid called CriticalCyd Speedrun. It will be run by the same person. Let me see who that was again. By RDV. And it is at 75 euros. So if you're interested in... Oh, actually, Cruel will be doing it, I just heard, apparently. Okay, never mind me. But it will still be at 75 euros. So if you're interested in seeing that, be sure to donate for that one. Otherwise, I don't actually have anything much to say.
All right, good. That gives me time to complain about this elevator skip. That was awful. Oh my goodness. Hello. Tails, can you hit that enemy, please? Thank you. Anyway, that elevator skip is the hardest thing in this stage, which is already a pretty hard stage in super hard mode. It's pretty hard. Did I say hard enough? Probably not. But yeah. That is unfortunately how it goes. Usually when you have a really good Grand Metropolis, you will have a really good, really bad power plant. Because it's very rare that both of them go well in the same run. For instance, in my PB, I had like a best split on power plant. But my Grand Metropolis was like one of the only stages that I have like a lot of time save. Anyway. This last section is quite infamous. A lot of people have a lot of bad memories of it, which is fair. It's like the game tries to lure you into using suboptimal formations, like speed formation, and this lava that's below me, or energy I guess, has terrible rubber banding, so panic. Now this is gonna look a bit weird. It's like there's only 3 enemies there. Why would you waste time doing such a long animation as the Team Blast? And that's actually because there are 3 golden turtles above here on this platform that are waiting to ambush me. And as soon as I get up there, they will heck me up completely. So for safety, I stand on that cage and hit them with the Team Blast as well. Anyway, casino stages. This is actually where we're going to have quite a change, because until now, when I switch formations, I stay in the same place, but I switch to whatever character I'm switching to. That's not the case whenever you're on pinball tables. On pinball tables, you end up wherever that character is at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop them off the stage, punch with Knuckles, which calls them back to me, but hits the pinball table right away, so that they can't actually get into position on Knuckles' hands, which will make them shoot past me. And then when I'm on the pinball table, I can switch to Tails to end up wherever he is at in the air, allowing me to skip the first part. Very convenient. Alright. Alright, made that cycle. Very nice. Alright, I'm gonna need to destroy this robot to spawn this switch, which will make the dice stop freaking out. And then I'm gonna hit this tube from the bottom, which will launch me in... I started my flight a bit low, so I didn't get it. Otherwise, I could have launched myself into the air and skipped part of this roulette table. But that is not too big a deal if I miss that. I would much rather I get the bigger stuff, like the thing coming up, in which case I move another pinball launch. So in this case, I'm gonna fire dunk them off instead, which is one of Knuckles' attack moves. And then launch myself up into the air with that. To skip more pinball tables. I would like to spend as little time on pinball tables as possible, because the physics on them are incredibly weird. Every time you hit something, your center of gravity gets changed a little bit. It's not very nice. This one is fortunately not too difficult to traverse, so there we go. I've also been getting level 2 Knuckles, and what that does for Knuckles is it gives him finishers. And at level 2 and level 3 is really powerful, allowing me to clear those enemies instantly. After that, a nice little laser skip. I got sonic damage, so he has damage and vulnerability. And then I prepare the Rocket Excel and jump right before I hit the laser gates, which allows me to consistently clip through any horizontal laser gate. Allows me to get up there, after which I can fall down to the goal ring, and there we go. And I just instinctively reached for my split button. There is no split button here. Speedrunner syndrome right here. Alright, bam, hit the split. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's late, I know. Alright. Bingo Highway. This is gonna be quite an experience if you've never seen Bingo Highway before in a speedrun. What I'm going to be doing is pretty similar to what I just did with the pinball table launch, where I'm going to drop my teammates off, except this time I'm going to wait the full 3 seconds that it takes for them to respawn. But first, door clip. I said first door clip. There we go. Most doors can be clipped through, some easier than others. That one is really thin. But still, you need some speed to be able to clip through. Anyway, let's go. Let's start this nonsense. I dropped my teammates off the stage, waited for them to respawn, and then I prevented Tails from respawning by making sure that there isn't any ground for him to respawn on. That will instead store him off into the distance, and while he's in the distance, I can still manipulate his movement. So what I do is I hit these springs over and over, which will lock Knuckles' movements, so I could just hold forward and manipulate where Tails is going instead. I do this for about 30 seconds, and since I hit the table at about 43, I am going to be getting off the springs right now, get onto the ledge, do some more manipulation in order to launch him into the air, fall back onto the table so I can switch to him, and then I end up way out of bounds. And now we're just going to fall in this direction for a little while, so if there's anything more you want to say, Ken, go right ahead.
Other than I find this stuff absolutely awesome.
Yeah, shoutouts to Dark Spy Sonics for being the madman who found this. Like, how do you do that?
I just absolutely love the casino stages for stuff like this. It's
Yeah.
just so much fun to watch. But anyways, we are holding this marathon as a beneficiary of the Dutch Cancer Society. So if you donate, 90% of all donations will be going directly to them. 10% will be going to the stream to make it even more awesome, so we can show off more crazy stuff like this run.
I didn't get bingo.
Sid, I'm disappointed.
I'm sorry.
Seriously.
But yeah, with that, you skip the entire stage. Saves a minute in Team Sonic, probably closer to 2 in super hard mode. It's very nice. But yeah. Was there anything more you were going to say?
I could talk about the Dutch Cancer Society a bit more if you want me to.
I mean, no, I was more so looking if I could start explaining the stage because, oh my god, I'm going way too fast. They upped the speed of the boosters way too fast in Rogue Canyon. Normally, it's faster to jump off there and skip a bit of the rails. They're actually so fast that I'm not doing that in super hard mode.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go into another bop boost, shall we? Oh yeah. Just skip part of it. Yeah. So, some other factors of the bop boost is, of course, how much distance you get. And being able to land on rails is also very important. But yeah, the distance you get is determined by a couple of things. The first of which is the speed. And the speed is determined by the distance between Sonic and whichever wall you're using to bop boost off of. So the further you bop Sonic back, the more speed you get. But unfortunately, that also means you gotta traverse more space to get to the wall. Fortunately, if you do a flight followed by another quick A-tap for what's called a flight excel, then you get pulled back towards where Sonic is at a really high speed, and you can carry that over to Tails by just holding a direction on the control stick. Also a nice little abuse of invulnerability frames there to stand on the train. But yeah. The other factor in the distance of the bop boost is the duration, and the duration is always 3 seconds after Sonic gets hit. After that, he will recover, bop boost ends, so the faster you can get to the wall, the better, because the more boost time you get. That is basically how you determine just how far you go with the bop boost, which is quite a useful skill to have, because a lot of them you can either undershoot or overshoot. Now, I'm going to use the high speed of those boosters in order to make it up to that upper rail. And skip a couple of rails here and there. And I should probably explain the switching back and forth between team members that I'm doing, and that is actually a means of acceleration. Whenever you are on the rails, you can start grinding, and the startup animation gives you a little bit of a speed boost, so it is actually faster to accelerate that way than naturally. So I could just trigger that speed boost over and over by switching between power and speed formation. And it just so happens to also have a really nice effect with voice acting. Got it. It's gonna be very useful for the real heavy stages like Real Canyon and Bullet Station. And if I miss a trick in Frog Forest, it'll be very useful there as well. Alright. A couple of trains that come directly at you right there, so I get off the rail early to avoid them. And this stage is actually entirely cycle-based. As soon as I started the level, there were 2 big cannons that started shooting every 3.3 seconds. So, and there was one right at the end, so it really just depends which cycles I get, how fast of a time I'm gonna get. Which can be nice in some cases, where it can be very lenient, but usually you're just stressing in order to get the cycle that you want. Anyway, there's a lot of switches here that you have to press. I do not want to press any of them. I'm just gonna go ahead and fly over to the next section. And then over here, they added this nice extra spike wall, otherwise I would have gone onto the other rail. That is the blue tornado. I had no intention of doing that, but I wasn't quite on the rail yet, and every action is bound to be, because this is made by Sonic Team. To be fair, they don't have a lot of free buttons in this game anyway. So in this game, it actually makes sense that everything is on B, but still, why is everything on B? I don't like it. Those doors I can clip through, but they're incredibly thick, so I don't want to try that. It'll most likely just result in time loss. Alright. Our little cycle for that platform right there. There we go. This guy I'm going to fire dunk in the face. You don't have to destroy him, but he has killed PB pace runs just by knocking me off the stage, which I'm not too fond of. But here we go. Just barely didn't make that cycle. That's unfortunate. This is a below average cycle, sadly. But only like by 1. So basically, compared to what I usually get, I've lost 3.3 seconds. And compared to what I can get, probably like 10. But yeah. No big deal. Yes. Yes. Nice little intermission section there where I can also get a whole bunch of level ups for Sonic to get him to level 3 again, which once again gives me wind physics for my homing attack. Which is not nearly as useful in this one because there's not actually a pole in the upcoming section. But I just get it out of habit, because in Team Sonic is very useful. But this is super hard mode. I gotta keep reminding myself. Alright, on to the next section. This is also one of those classic sections where it looks like the train is moving, but it's really just the train is stationary and the environment is moving. In the Team Rose run, you actually fly to one of these trains early in order to skip a majority of the stage, because they kind of like are all over the place. They warp you all over the place in the stage. Quite funny. Right, let's finally explain this thing, the bobsled. There is a whole bunch of interactables like cannons and bobsleds throughout the stages, and with the bobsleds, it's just a matter of not getting hit. Whenever you get hit, one of your teammates get knocked off, so if Sonic gets knocked off, I can't like hold forward to go extra fast as much, you know. And if Knuckles gets knocked off, I can't steer anymore, so I just gotta hope that there is nothing else in my way. And if Tails is knocked off, it's game over. Oh well. It's really not too difficult to avoid getting hit. And if you complete them really quickly, you also get a level up for whichever formation you are in whenever you enter the bubble. Alright, I tried to do a glide there in order to get over an invisible wall, which will allow me to skip a door. Didn't get it, unfortunately, which is a shame because it's the fastest, but it's not the most funny one. This is the most funny way to skip that door. That looks really complicated. It's not. I literally just have to find the right spot on the rail and rail switch. And then it launches me into the air for no reason. There are like a couple of spots throughout the games that does that. This is a video game. Sonic Heroes is a video game. But that's Bullet Station right there. I didn't mind that I had to show off the slower version. That's totally fine. And since they don't expect you to get up there, you can just fall through the cannon, no problem. No collision. Right. This next stage has a really cool movement. I'm gonna skip all of it with tricks. Woo! Don't clap for that. I'm always sad. I like this stage. But I had to find Bob boosting and ruin it. Alrighty. Little bit of movement. Little bit of movement right here. And then I'm going to be using this enemy right here to Bob boost. And there we go. That was a really good Bob boost. And I'm going to end up like way further into the stage, saving like well over a minute. In super hard mode, probably more. I can land on the path right here, just before a couple of loops, one of which has speed shoes in it, which once again doesn't give me much ground speed at all, but does give me a lot of airspeed, because that makes sense. He missed the speed shoes! You blue heckin'... Alright, let's not finish that, let's keep it PG. There we go, speed shoes. I need those. If I time my inputs right... Oh man, I missed it. Rip. Alright, there's a really cool glide you can do there, but unfortunately... I mistimed my inputs. I was slightly too late, so I didn't get a glide. Which means instead we get this. I think he's got it, guys. That rail curves and swerves so much that it's like, even though that is only a means to acceleration, you don't like actually go past max speed or anything. It's just, it's impossible to balance on with the way the camera is and how much it curves and swerves, so it's just best to keep accelerating and accelerating and accelerating back up to max speed. Normally it's better to just only do a couple of those and then start balancing, but oh well.
You sure it's safe around here?
Anyway, Lost Jungle. This is pretty much the opposite of Rock Forest, as in, while it does have skips, it's like all very tiny skips that are possible because of the level design. That little one at the start right there was where I did a Flight Excel to give me a vertical boost, but I did it right as I touched the ground, which means it does still reset my flight and I can start flying again. But this time from higher. Very handy. Bit precise though. And then the rest is mostly going to be some nice jumps to skip a whole bunch of the stage, thanks to the geometry. There we go. Get up there. If I start my flight at the top of my jump, I can get up there. Alrighty. Here I'm going to be doing a mid-air kick to hopefully skip all of the robots. That's not good enough, so I'm just going to hit the last one for safety. Those robots I need to watch out for. They can grab my teammates, which usually just wastes time. But still, I don't like wasting time. He says as he just filled a big skip in the previous stage. Oh well, that's just how it works. Now coming up, there is actually a fight with one of the few robots that is actually incredibly slow to fight. It is a hammer robot, but with a helmet. And which means that he's only vulnerable under his helmet, so I gotta like bait him into doing a spinning attack first, which is already very slow, and then I gotta knock him over, which knocks off his helmet, finally giving me like a little bit of room to hit him. And while I've been explaining that fight that I'm not gonna be doing, I failed to skip in order to get there. It's like the very top of this, you can actually land on and refresh your flight if it will let me go. Okay. Let's go. Alrighty. Much better. Don't want to do that fight. Forest stages were a bit sloppy, but that's okay. Alrighty. Now here we have these flowers. These are like little auto-scroller sections where you can like move up and down. I like to take as little of them as possible. I already skipped one earlier in the stage. But yeah. You activate them with wind physics, so since I have level 3 Sonic, I can use his homing attack for that. Now those boxes that were blocking off my way at the bottom, I can actually flip through, but it's even more inconsistent than the doors in Bullet Station, so I just don't, and instead I manage my fight properly to get up there. And in the process, accidentally activate something known as the Team Blast glitch, which we'll get to later in the run. Alright, so I'm gonna focus on not being a super dumb idiot during this alligator section and falling off. If there's anything you want to say, Ken, go right ahead.
Yes, we are the Dutch. We are the Benelux Speedrunner Gathering. We are a speedrunning marathon held in the Netherlands. If you would like to join us in the future, we do have a week-long marathon coming up somewhere around, I think it was July, was it? August, there we go. There we go. It's in the chat right now as well, so you can check it out there as well. The tickets will be opening at one point or another. We still have opened submissions for runs as well. So if you wish to join us for a week-long marathon of awesomeness, be sure to check it out.
Yeah. Alright. Castle. Now the gimmick of this stage is that it keeps sending you up and down and up and down, like it keeps inverting the level and back forwards. Doesn't actually do that, it just teleports you to a different part of the stage where they took the level layout and just flipped it upside down. But yes, you go upside down. They invert the gravity, totally. And you're supposed to do that quite a lot of times throughout the stage. I'm gonna be skipping most of them. This is once again a very skip-heavy stage, and then the second section of the haunted stages, or the second stage rather, is pretty low on skips. Significantly big one at least. So, there's a door. It's being a bit too much like a door for me right now. I need to start my homing attack lower, so I can build up more speed, and then both teammates need to cooperate in order to actually give me the rocket excel. And then if I roll just before I hit the door, I can clip through it like that. Now here I want to get a ramp jump. There we go. Skip that section, and a bunch of fighting. Alrighty. And then we're gonna just jump down here. Go upside down one more time. Already skipped like one or two of them or something. And I'm about to skip 2 or more of them. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't done this stage normally in a while. And that is done by another friendly butt boost. Thank you, Mr. Robot. Alrighty. And there we go. Nice and convenient. In a straight line from where I was is one of the other inverted sections. That is one of the biggest time-saving butt boosts across the categories. And fortunately also the easiest, because like it's very easy to get enough speed for it. You don't have to bop Sonic to the back much at all. And you can even afford to get hit and then just walk to the wall and do it, and you'll still have enough speed. But you also can't overshoot it, because there's a wall blocking you. It's very nice. Makes it the best one to practice the trick on as well.
Leave it to me. Leave it to me.
And there we go. Castle done. For some reason in Super Hard Mode, I decided to make doors open by lighting torches. It's going to be happening quite a lot throughout the next stage as well. It's a bit weird, but it works. I can do that by using Knuckles' attacks, like his Fire Dunk, where he dunks his teammates on enemies. And of course, I can circle them around me as well if I'm in the air and press the B button, which is what I usually use to break things, because it's nice and quick. And if I use my glide, I can actually call my teammates towards me as well. And do that. I've been doing it like subconsciously the entire run. Alrighty. Gotta defeat that enemy to spawn that switch, which will then open the gate so I can hit this switch. Now this stage doesn't really have many major skips except one at the end. It's mostly about like small optimizations, small skips, stuff like that. But it is one of my favorites actually to do. Moving in this can be really cool. Alrighty. Who needs doors? Now there's a robot with a hammer and a helmet here. Like I said, those are incredibly slow, so it's better to use the team last, even though the team last animation is slow. Now there I used the light dash cancelling trick in order to get a bunch of speed. And the wall there was like partially non-existent, so I could just go through that quite easily. I specifically get in these card sections with Knuckles, because once again, if you complete them fast enough, then you get a level up for whichever character you were when you entered the card. And I want Knuckles at level 2 for a bunch of fights that are coming up. Level 3 is nice as well. It's like, at level 2, his combo finisher becomes really strong. At level 3, it only gets like a few extra fireballs that pop up. No big deal. So really, whenever I want levels on Knuckles, 2 is all I need. But yeah. These are the normal hammer robots without helmets. And one combo should make quick work of them. Hopefully, the first one doesn't always die with one combo. But he was nice this time. Thank you for being a nice boy. Alrighty.
You don't know what this switch triggers.
Get rid of them. There's another door clip right here. I said there's another door clip right here. Thank you.
Leave it to me. Let's go.
And then we light those as well. Another one with a helmet, so another team last. Now this is also one of the stages where you get warped all over the place rather than everything like being one consistent stage and whatnot. And because of that, in super hard mode, this actually ended up being like the longest, like by far, version of it and the longest stage altogether, just because they tried to use almost every room. There's a couple that they miss just because of diverging paths, usually just don't really work well together. But for the most part, they managed to visit most sections of this stage.
Leave it to me.
It's nice because it's a fun stage to do. I like it. They also significantly upped the amount of lasers on this, so okay. I gotta make sure. As long as one of them survives, that's fine. Like your teammates are saying jump now and stuff, by the time they say it, it's already too late. Don't listen to them. You gotta know where they are and anticipate them. Thank you, Knuckles, for being very useful. Alrighty. Now right here, there's like several walls to break, one of which has a hidden tunnel. Fortunately, it's the one right in front of you. They try to trick you with the camera angle, but I'm on to you, game. I'm on to you. Alrighty. Just gotta get the right path, and there we go. With this one, I gotta activate 3 switches all throughout this room. It's very slow, so even though this door clip is a bit consistent, it is definitely worth going for. This one I don't have a consistent method for. I just do a rocket excel, roll into the door to like kind of get into it a bit. But I'm not even sure if that helps. It just feels like it does, except right now. Right now it doesn't feel like it does. And then I switch to tails and hope that I kill it. This is actually the most it's misbehaved for quite a while. There we go. This is the other stage in my PB that I actually have a lot of time save on. Just this in Grand Metropolis. Guess what was the cause of that? It's the only part of the stage I don't like, that door clip. Anyway, here we have a power section, a flight section, and a speed section. You're supposed to defeat an enemy, or a bunch of enemies, in each of them, which will eventually open up this cage. I don't want to open the cage. I'm just gonna go ahead and flip through it. Oh yeah. Saves a lot of time in super hard mode, especially because they made Tails' section like they space out the platform so badly that you have to wait a lot. It's very slow. I'm very happy we can skip that now. But yeah, that cage clip is normally really inconsistent when you just normally go for it. However, by making use of that hammer robot, the hitbox of like your punches and whatnot gets bigger. Just by the fact that you're hitting them, hitting the robot with it as well. And then you can actually hit the switch because of that, making it a very consistent clip. This does unfortunately mean that Team Dark can't do it because they don't have a robot there. Anyway, let's go, Egg Fleet. There's a whole bunch of ships. I'm going from ship to ship. All of them have gates. I'm gonna be opening exactly 0 of them. This one technically isn't even close. I just went ahead and flew over the trigger with a nice timed glide. And then I, for once, actually used the blue tornado to grab onto that because I don't really have anything else, and I don't like rocket excelling that close to the edge. Glide dash up here for the fastest path. And then the next ship is almost upon us. Oh boy.
Where'd they get so many?
This is the actual intended use of the glide. You're supposed to use them on those fans. I think the only place I've done that until now is like Bullet Station. Not entirely sure. There aren't all that many fans in Super Hard Mode, honestly. Anyway, next ship. Another Gates. Nah. There we go. I don't know why, but the sides of the ship have collision that you can walk on. It's not like some weird gravity trick right there. They just have collision. You can walk on them. It makes no sense, but I like it. It looks really cool. After that, I could choose to like be safe and like jump back onto the ship from the top, or try to dodge all of the invisible walls and do it from the bottom. So since it's a marathon run, it made perfect sense to do the riskier variety, naturally. And yeah.
Can I?
Yeah,
Got
you can interject with the donation. That's actually what I was about to say.
Oh, awesome. We got a €2 donation from Guess Who? Hey Sid, how many U's are there in the word colors? Good luck on the Sonic Gyros friend. Hashtag botanic attack. Hashtag big bad.
That is Ghost King. That is most definitely Ghost King. He continuously taunts me with the fact that Americans can't spell colors. If I ever run colors here, which I most likely will, he is going to probably do that again. So, anyway, there's the big blue ships that I get to destroy.
Leave it to me.
And
Let's go.
at the start of it was a checkpoint. It is the last checkpoint I've hit. It is quite a bit away ago, and I'm about to do a very risky bot boost. Well, that's okay. I just need to make sure I don't fail it. It's actually a bit extra difficult in Super Hard Mode as well compared to Team Sonic, because this robot is not spawned yet in Team Sonic. That looks good. In Super Hard Mode, he already is, so he gets the chance to do his attack, and after that, he'll walk into a random direction, so he can actually get further away of where you want him to be, making it harder to land this bot boost. But that looked really good, so hopefully I will land. I might barely miss it, actually. Oh! Yeah, the robot didn't walk into a favorable direction there, unfortunately. And I was a bit slow at getting through the wall. Let's see, the run has gone well enough so far that with my estimate I can definitely afford to go for that again. So I'm going to do it one more try. If it fails again, I'll just do the stage normally. Because it actually only saves like 20 seconds. Well, it looks cool, so I want to do it. And where that bot boost puts you is it puts you like halfway through the next auto-scroller. Because there's a ship right there that you can land on, do some stuff on. I think there's a 1-up on it. And then you can activate another one of those propellers to continue with the auto-scroller. Alrighty.
Can I quickly do another donation?
Yeah, go ahead.
We got a €5 donation from Cruel himself saying, €5 because I want to see RDV suffer through darker side. That actually puts the darker side donation incentive at €7 of 75. So donate only 68 more euros to see RDV suffer through it.
Alright, you robot, be nice. Hey, he was nice. He stayed in the same position. I'm gonna extend it a little bit. I can hold left there in order to change the wall that I bot boost off of in the middle of the bot boost, just by moving left. And that extends it a little bit, which should hopefully make it a bit safer and making it that I actually make it this time. Yeah, that looks really good. Very nice. And then I can get onto the thing right here. Thank you. Thank you. As one of the more difficult Babus in both Team Sonic normal and the super hard mode version. And it's like, it's not so hard that you can't get consistent at it, but still, it's killed a couple of runs for sure. Especially since when you fail it, you lose like 1.5 minutes just because the checkpoint is that far back.
Leave it to me. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Of course, what you do with that is you make sure your estimate takes that into account. And I actually make sure my estimate for super hard modes takes a lot of train wrecking into account because, like I said, if stuff goes wrong in this, it will likely snowball out of control. It's a very punishing category. In a very punishing game to begin with, honestly. Alright. So there were 3 enemies there, 2 of them like off to the side. They take quite a long time to kill, so it's better to just use the team blast there and instantly destroy them. Alright, let's see. Oh. I can go for the risky one in Final Fortress. I have enough time to fail that.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Hopefully I could just get it, so we can like save a bit of time on schedule again. Alright. So at the start here, I'm going to be changing the camera a bit. So I can actually make it here. And I started gliding too early. Rip.
Leave it to me. Let's go.
Alright, in that case, I'm just gonna fly up there instead.
Leave it to me. Let's go. Here we go.
Alrighty. Now, if you were here for Grand Metropolis, then you will no doubt know about the lightspeed jump glitch that I did, which launches me into the air. There is actually another one here in Final Fortress, and if you execute it perfectly, it breaks even. But it looks really cool, so I'm gonna do it.
Do you do this in like normal attempts as well?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not worth the risk right at the end. It's just like I said, if you execute it perfectly, it breaks even. But it looks really cool, and it allows you to skip a self-destruct switch.
Guess I'll finally be able to see this for the first time then.
Oh man, I gotta get a good rock excel here to make it to the other side. There we go. I usually go for it on runs that like can't PB anymore by this point.
Leave it to me.
Alrighty.
Let's leave this to Tails.
So I'm gonna take the bottom route here. The top involves a bunch of fighting and whatnot to clear the path, slow poles, all that kind of stuff. Now what I'm gonna do here is something called the Team Blast glitch, which means I'm gonna do a Thunder Shoot with Tails on the same frame that I switch formations, which will kind of trick the game into doing a Thunder Shoot on every frame, and every Thunder Shoot fills the Team Blast here for a bit. Alright, there's the light speed kick. Woo! Very nice. So now I'm on top of these walls and I can... Oh boy.
It's blown to pieces.
Wonder why it's so.
Let's actually set up the self-destruct as well. This is what's supposed to happen. Double explosion, why not? Oh, hello.
Can I do a few donations?
Didn't let me real switch. Let me just get onto the rails real quick.
Okay.
Oh. Alright, we good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So, we have a €3 donation from Ghost King saying, well, you figured me out. I think I'm going to retire the caller's joke because I don't think I can fool you with it anymore.
Oh no.
Much love to Sid, Cruel, and all the BSG people. We also have a €3 donation from Hollister saying,
Yo.
my friend from Pakistan told me that the word suffer in Urdu means journey. So I'm putting this money so RDV can journey through the darker side. Good luck to everyone.
Base Hollister. Alright, so I specifically did a bob boost off of the furthest robots there, because that will get me way further than the normal bob boost. And let's see. Hopefully that should be enough distance to get me all the way to the final platform. And skip the last self-destruct switch. This looks pretty good. Fortunately, the last platform isn't really big, so it shouldn't be too difficult to land on as long as I get the distance. Oh yeah, I definitely have the distance. Very nice. And right here at the end, I'm going to be doing another couple of teamless glitches because there is another set of robots. Oh boy, this is actually quite scary. I think I... Okay. I barely missed that because I definitely hit like some kind of collision there. Alright, that's a shame. I thought I was further than I actually was. Right, let's go ahead and do that properly this time, because otherwise I will not beat my estimate. That's okay. I wanted to show off some cool stuff, and I expected this run to be nowhere near my PB. So that's exactly what we got here. Hello? Teammates. That is a weak rocket excel. And there I hit the ledge. There we go, better. This is what it's called, like, being on tilt. That's why I'm just gonna go ahead and do normal stress right now. Finish the run. That was a shame though. That bot boost was like just short of where I wanted to be. Alright, so what you normally do here is you still do a team blast, but you do it close enough to the robots that it actually destroys them, so I can just open the gate. And there we go. And hopefully I can show off this cool rail switch at the loop as well. Yep, very nice. That's how smooth it's supposed to look. And we're gonna fly right up here again. And this time we are going to be using the easier robots for a bot boost. Which does have a more difficult landing, however, because I'm going to have to land on the rails most likely. Alright, now I'm at a wall. I can play it safe and land on the wall. It means I can get onto the rails while still having my flight. Alright. Cool. And then I'm just gonna be like spending a lot of time on rails for a little while until we get to the end. So if there's another donation, maybe.
Well, coincidentally, we have a 10 € donation from a Magnificent saying, "Let's go, BSG. It is great to see another weekend of runs off to a great start. Let's see some big donations and some awesome games." Thank you very much for that one.
Thank you,
Quickly
Matt.
refresh here.
Alrighty. So I'm going to be doing more Team Blast glitches in order to get another Team Blast, because even when you have like an empty bar like I have, there's 2 hammer robots where here, even one of them, it's faster to just do this glitch and then do the Team Blast. And time is actually going to be coming up right after the detonation, because the goal ring is right in front of my nose. And time. All right. That ended up being quite a train wreck towards the end, but I got to show off all of the cool stress that I wanted to show off, and I expected it to be a train wreck because it's super hard mode. It's super volatile. But yeah.
I'm kind of sad we didn't get any Sonic Heroes moments, though.
Yeah, come to think of it, I don't think I've really had anything that's like where the
Weird.
game just randomly screws me over. Huh.
It's the most,
That
it's the
normally
most
yeah.
disappointing part of this run.
That
I
normally
feel.
happens a couple of times per stream. It's a finicky game. It's weird. But anyway, that is going to be it for me. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. I had a lot of fun at least. And I'm going to throw it back over to Kinnan to announce the next run.
Yes, thank you very much, Sid. Up next we